Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas. And I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danni D, and I'm here helping people find that work with ease lifestyle where they can enjoy their business, enjoy their life, have a successful business, and still have an enjoyable life and not be overly stressed, overwhelmed by having a business or the professional side of their life. So today I want to talk about perfectionism. And it's come up in a couple of ways just in the last couple of days. So I felt like I wanted to touch on it because I want to really distill this notion that it even exists. So we use perfectionism a lot of times as a standard that, perfectionism equals excellence. And I want to walk in excellence. So I want to perfect this thing, right? And while it's important to always be learning, growing, evolving, training, all of those different things, there's no such thing as perfect. It just really doesn't exist. There's no such thing as perfect. And sometimes it's easy to look at somebody else and say, well, they're more together than I am. You're not inside their brain. You're not living their life. You're not seeing them every day. So there's something that they are struggling with. There's something that they, wanted to quote unquote perfect that they don't see as perfect, but maybe you are looking at it and see it as perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. My coach would say, take imperfect action. The thing about it is, one thing I want to point about perfectionism is it's the biggest form of procrastination. It's a fear response. So we say we're perfecting something because as long as we're perfecting it, we feel like we're doing something and but we never gonna finish the something because perfectionism is being something being perfect is wildly unobtainable. So we have an excuse to not do the thing that might be a little scary to us, not have the launch, not accept the big job, not um, pursue other options because we want to wait until the perfect moment or until we accomplish this thing that's going to just be life changing. We're constantly waiting in the shadow of perfection. So that's number one. We have to stop allowing this concept of perfection to stop us from doing things that are great. Take imperfect action. Um, and to be honest with you, that was a struggle for me to accept, understand, embrace. I know that I was, raised in a way that it was like, you have to be, 10 times better. You have to, everything has to look a certain way, be a certain way. And I'm not saying not to, you know, have your stuff together, but having your stuff together looks differently than I think we put it in our heads. And sometimes you just have to start. Sometimes you just have to start where you are and keep evolving, keep growing, keep adding. most of the people that you know that you may look at and say they have it all together, they didn't start there. Nobody started perfect. And a lot of times, if somebody did, like let's say they were in a position, they had all the resources to start perfect. I'm just, just my own opinion. I don't have a, case study to go off of, but they probably didn't make it or last long. And I know that sounds crazy to say that, but the reason why I'm saying it is any growth path, any entrepreneurial how do I want to say this? It's a journey. Just say this. It's a journey. It's a journey to step into something new. It's a journey to, even if it's, I've been in business for a while, but now I'm going to this next level or I'm shifting in this way. It's a journey. And the journey is just as important as the destination. You learn valuable things in doing it and in perfecting it as you go. You learn valuable lessons in that process. So while you can, and I recommend, having a coach or somebody who helps you along that path, you can definitely have information, education, resources to help you grow, but it's impossible to implement it all at one time. You still gonna have to pick something, work on it, perfect that thing, and then pick a next thing. That's how you get to be productive, right? That's how you get to be established. But in that process, you build certain muscles that are gonna be necessary as you get further along your journey. So the process is important. You're going to learn through the process. And sometimes you can learn through the advice of others, of course. You don't have to learn everything the hard way, but there are going to be some things that you learn through the process. So you may learn, you may have a mentor, a coach, someone you admire, and you may, try to emulate what they're doing. You may learn somewhere along the way, you know what? As much as I respect this person, I am different in this way. And so that doesn't work for me. And now I need to find a solution that works a little bit better for me because maybe I'm not the person, that's going to, let's say, do a cold call because I'm not that person. I mean, I'll do a cold email, but I'm not gonna do a cold call. That's not my personality. It doesn't fit. So then I have to find a way that makes sense for me to accomplish that same goal, but that's more in line with who I am. That's a part of that process. It's a part of the learning process. It's a part of the journey. And it is not perfect. You can, tweak and change it and get it closer, but it's not gonna start there. And if you are waiting for perfection to start, you'll never start. So that's one piece of what I wanted to talk about. The other side of it is professionalism and perfection are not the same. You are not required to be perfect to be professional. Professional just means that you are reliable, you show up when you're supposed to, you communicate the way that you're supposed to with people, that you are thoughtful about how you operate and are handling business. That's professionalism. But professionalism doesn't have a certain look, it doesn't have a certain skin tone, it doesn't have a certain personality. You don't have to be, whitewashed, you don't have to be sterile, you don't have to be that to be professional. You can be you and be professional. You know, like I look at it like this, there is a side of me that my girlfriends know. Even sometimes I might share a little bit of that side of me with you guys. There's a side of me that people who know me in a personal setting know that maybe my clients don't know, right? There's that side. And we all have our personal life, right? That is, either separate or not, depending on how open you are as a person from our professional life. But that doesn't mean that when we walk into that professional space, that we have to check our whole personality at the door. That just means that, maybe I'm not going to cuss on the job. You know what I'm saying? I might not, I have a, kind of unexpected sense of humor. Might not display that on the job because that may not be something, if you don't know me, it could be taken the wrong way or taken out of context. But that doesn't mean that I'm not human and I'm not going to show up as that. And that doesn't mean that because I might, look different than my client, I might be from a different, place than my client, I might be in a different tax bracket than my client. That does not mean that I'm not professional and people are not looking for you to be perfect. They're just looking for you to provide a service or a product and handle it in a way that they feel seen, taken care of. But you're allowed to be human. And that took me a while. That took me a while to come to that. Especially, coming from a background of, being like you have to be this way when you're in a professional setting, coming from a more corporate background where it's like, you have to this is what this looks like. And a lot of us are in non-traditional fields. So there's also this kind of like monkey on our back of um are we taken seriously as professionals? And I get that, and I've experienced that. Now, you get the looks when you say what you do is like as if you just told them that you play with Play-Doh or something all day. I get that. But again, also professionalism is your confidence. It's your confidence to walk in a space knowing that you belong there, knowing that nobody can take that from you. No one can take your expertise from you. That's another part of professionalism is your expertise. And lead with that. Always lead with that because a lot of times what I see is, especially when we're dealing with um other corporations and stuff like that, a tendency to fall back and they're hiring you as a professional. They've already established that you're a professional and they hired you as a professional. And so lead with your expertise. So don't, do something for a client just because you are intimidated and you don't feel like you can tell them different. No, say, hey, as a professional that's been doing this for X number of years, I just want to let you know that that's not really best practices, or these are the reasons why we can't do this thing in this way. And just say that to them. Just say it to them. Don't feel like you're stepping out of bounds. Don't feel like you're speaking out of turn. You belong. You belong there. So, as Kevin Hart would say it with your chest. You belong there. Don't feel like because you're not perfect, you're not professional. Professional people make mistakes. Professional people are human. We all are human, and we have to accept that that is a reality. And you would be surprised how actually you further humanize yourself by showing that you are not perfect. You further humanize yourself by being able to say, I'm, sorry, but this thing, I messed this up. You further humanize yourself, and you also build trust with people because, I know that sounds counterintuitive, like, okay, I messed this thing up. How does that build trust? It builds trust because you were able to own it and say out loud, hey, this is what happened. And, come with solutions. That's what professionals do. You come with a solution, but things don't always go perfectly. And that's okay. It is okay. It's not a indictment of you as a professional. It's just it's what happened. It's just, something happened. Life happens. You don't want to get so nonchalant that you're not like that you're careless about things, but at the same time, you could be the most careful person and something happens. It it is what it is. Sometimes things are going to happen, and you have to be able to be okay with that, because if not, it's going to be a really, really hard road if you are expecting things to be perfect all the time. They're not going to be. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't think there is perfect. There is no perfect. You can you are responsible for doing your best. That's what you're responsible for, not responsible for being perfect. Nobody asked for that. We just made that up in our heads. No one asked for it. And understand too that, when you look around and you say, well, this person, and you start doing that comparison, that person is not perfect either. And a lot of times it's the narrative that you have played out because you feel like you're not in the place that that person is. Person's not perfect. And if you ask them, I'm sure they will tell you, like, no, I'm dealing with this, I'm dealing with that. This didn't go right, that didn't happen. It's a part of life. It's a part of life. So let's leave perfectionism. Let's leave it where it is. Let's stop giving perfectionism, and the accolades that we give, because we say it like we doing something, well, I'm trying to perfect this, before I X, Y, and Z. We say it like we're doing something when really we are doing the most of nothing, because all we're doing is delaying what we were supposed to do. And, again, I've shared with you guys before, I'm a believer. You don't have to be a believer, but Jesus walked imperfectly and he was perfect, right? He did not wait for the perfect moment or the perfect situation to perform miracles, to walk into situations, to do what needed to be done. He just moved when it was time to move. And that's what we have to do as well. We have to move when it's time to move. It it might be ugly at first, but it's going to be a beautiful experience and it's going to come out beautiful in the end. Think about anytime you're creating something, and we have a lot of creatives that listen to the show. Think about when you're creating something, it's usually ugly in the beginning. It usually starts off a bunch of pieces of things, that have to come together and make something beautiful in the end. But you can't start at the end. You have to start at the beginning. So we're going to leave perfectionism behind. We're not going to associate perfect with greatness. We're going to associate intentional action and growth with greatness. And we're not going to equate perfection and professionalism. You can be as professional as you want to be, exactly who you are, how you are, whether that's tatted up or whatever that looks like, um, you are still a professional. You may not have, you might not have the education or the income or the what have you of whomever you're dealing with. But guess what? You are still professional. I had a colleague comment in a group about, something about them that made them feel like they, weren't not perceived as professional. And I totally understood it because I've been there. I think we've all been there. But at the same time, I was like, man, it's like one of the, y'all know I love systems and automations, one of like the beast of systems and operations and making sure their business is running smoothly. But again, we all have those different things that, we feel like make us, seen as less than by others, right? You belong. You belong. He said so. So you belong, right? You belong where you are. You are a professional. Walk in there with your head tall. Walk in there and say it with your chest because you're a professional. We're no longer perfectionists. We can walk in excellence and not be perfect. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Prophets in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at CoachDanniD.com.